Well, welcome, mate. Welcome to what is officially, I think, webinar number 3 of a new Channel Guru Live. How are you, Mark?
Good. How are you? Good to be here.
Mate,
Thanks for having me.
Mate, it is a pleasure. We're going to dive into a lot of detail today, but, for those who haven't seen Mark, you've been such a great contributor and supporter of Channel Guru. So it's awesome to have you on this call and to dive into some interesting conversations, mate. But you've had a pretty big bloody year.
Yes. Interesting, I think, is how I would describe it. Thought a lot about what word I would use in the lead up to this and didn't prepare for the word. But yeah, interesting, I think, is the word I would use. Yes.
The title of today's session is from employee to entrepreneur, how to make the leap, but most importantly, without losing your mind. I know I've lost my mind on my journey a few times.
Yeah.
Sometimes in the fetal position in the corner, mate, but a very, very bold title that you were supportive of us having for this session.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Well, I think it just immediately gives you about 2,000 things to talk about, right? So I didn't really have to sit back and write notes of everything I would prepare for because I could talk to that topic of title alone. Over to you. I think I know you've got questions and I'm more than happy to answer them. I've probably lost my mind a couple of times, but knowing who I am at the end of the day is the bit that really stopped it from taking its hold. But I'll let you kick off, I guess. Yeah.
Well, let's be very deliberate. Let's put this last 12 months aside for a moment, right? Because that's going to be the core of today's conversation we're going to dive into. So let's put that aside a little moment. Take us a step back. Tell us a little bit about Mark Boyd, the man, your professional, your personal life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I think I'm a pretty normal, whatever that means, kind of person, I suppose. A passionate family man, got a 2.5-year-old at home that keeps me honest and most of the time well, so I'm pretty fresh when I get on calls like this. But last night was a 3 a.m. wake up, so that was no fun. But I grew up sort of out in the western suburbs of Melbourne. For those that know Melbourne well enough, it was socioeconomically not the top end of town, and it taught me an appreciation for having more than enough, but knowing how to sort of scrap for what you got in some ways. And family early on just instilled to go and get educated, work hard, be honest, be truthful, respectful and whatnot. And give back to those around you and you'll get something back in kind as you grow, and you take some bruises along the way as you grow up and away you go. So I knew from a very early age I wanted to be in tech. It was either that or a lawyer, and it's good enough at constructing cohesive arguments. So tech won out in the end. My uncle, probably 25 years ago, said, don't bother with technology because it's a dying industry and it won't go anywhere. And that's sort of when someone tells me not to do something, I run towards it. And that's how I...
Don't send me money.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I think early on in my career and even up until recently, I did a lot of what I did in defiance of people telling me something was impossible, and I'd just go and find a way to do it. And I like turning a no into a yes or a no into a, well, who cares? We've got time on this earth. We might as well try. And then it led to here, right? So strong family man, studying tech, sort of fell into it a little bit. I did it sometimes or in some ways because I was good at it. And I've never really been challenged by the technology side of this industry that we're all in. It was more the people side, and the people side of this industry gave me so much. It helped me travel the world and know how to talk to people and put the proverbial on the table and take risks and take gambles, but know that we're all human at the end of the day, right? And that's kind of why I stay in the industry, why I do what I do, why I work with you in the Channel Guru community. It's I guess that's the history of me to date in a very nutshell. I was a cop at one stage for about 12 weeks before I hated it and moved on. That's a fact people don't know about me. But
Hold on. You're a cop for 12 weeks.
Yeah.
Does that mean you didn't make it through the academy, or you made it through the academy? Leave that out there.
I was hoping you didn't pick up on it. No, I was in the academy for 12 weeks and it was basically either, do it now for the next 3 years or or do something else. And yeah, had that moment at the 11-week and 6-day mark of, because we stayed on campus, right, for the training, going, this isn't me, it's not who I am. Respect the force and what they do and so on and so forth. But I went in kind of bright-eyed and bushy-tailed saying I'm joining to make a change, and it wasn't what I thought it would be, not disrespecting it. It was who I was not that. So I went back into out into industry and joined JB Hi-Fi to found their commercial managed service division, and the rest is history. That was where the career started to go skyrocket, right? And here we are. Yeah.
So from that conversation with, I think, or the opinion shared by your uncle, and you've just, hey, I'm going to go all for tech. If you think back to that time,
Yes.
did you have a vision of what your career was going to become?
Yes.
What was the ideal kind of outcome that you had in your mind?
Yes. I don't know. That's a big question. I think the cliche answer, but it's true, was to be happy, right? Like not necessarily do anything where I was beholden to someone else, and I knew I could make good money in the industry. Not that it was about that, but money funds a lifestyle, right? Yeah, I just knew if I was really bloody good at what I did, I wouldn't necessarily ever have scrutiny on me for what I was doing in my workplace, right? Like prior to the police force, that was where I sort of started the first MSP I worked for, when managed services was a dirtier word than what it was today. And if I just was as good at the tech as I could be, then the customers wouldn't second guess us. And I had that customer first, customer focused mentality. I just knew I wanted to be somewhere where I could add value to people's lives and do something that if I just, we're not doctors, we're not lawyers, but when people call us, they need help, right? Mm-hmm. And you have to know your stuff. And that was, I remember the first computer job I ever did. My dad was at work and I broke his computer and I had to fix it before he got home, and had no idea what I was doing, but I knew I'd be in trouble if I didn't fix it. And then that was where it started to turn, going, hang on a second, I can pull these things apart. I'm 12 when I pulled my first PC apart, and they're not complicated. Like you pull something out, it can only go back where it came from. And then from there, I thought, became a passion and a hobby. And I was at school and the bad kid that would rip apart the computers and hack the school network and all that stuff. And if I just went from there, I like being useful to people, it's a customer service industry. I fundamentally think most people on the planet are good people, and it's nice helping other people out. And if I just, the chip on my shoulder of my uncle telling me it's a dying industry was the other 50% of, if I just can tell me what to do, I'm just going to go and do it. And here we are.
So do you think there was moments that, not this 12 months again, we'll come back to that, but key moments throughout your career that's defined how you operate in business today?
If I just 100%, and at every job I've done and or left, or even the one or two I was let go from, it was always that I had to discover about myself that the chip on my shoulder about the way I do things is probably because of a strong sense of social justice or justice overall. Is I will always militantly do what is right by the customer and not care about who I work for. If I speak truth to power in a way that sometimes would get me in trouble. And it's not to be, raise the fist and all of that stuff, but it's, if I can genuinely hand on heart saying the job I am employed to do is what I am doing to the best of my ability. The milestones in the career that sort of defined me were the bits where I would have put my foot down, or I would have been proven right by something that I knew was the right thing to do, either technically or from a customer account management perspective or whatever, going, if everyone's losing their mind and I can be the calm guy in the room going, one, take control, two, this is just what we're doing. We've just got to give it a crack, and be the first person to pick up the call to the customer and go, if I just hit in the fan, I've got this. I'm the guy that's going to talk to you and coach you through this. We've got you. Like, I could recount 50 moments like that in 10 years of, maybe there's an ego complex thing to it, of being the guy that would save the day, or being the person willing to step up and go, everyone just calm down for a second. Let's get some facts on the table and move forwards, and away we go. And it's not if I jump of us out there like that, you're like that in your business, right? Like guys like Milan from Otto and Adam from Centorino and whatnot, they're the same. Like I've spoken to them little bits and pieces or heard stories about them where they were the kings of saving the day, but making it for the right reason. Go help that customer when they need you the most. And I could, again, recount 5,000 stories of the times I've done it that gave me the chip on my shoulder to go out on my own today. If I jump.
Really interesting segue, perfect segue, Mark.
Mm-hmm. If I jump.
Turning point, right?
If I jump.
There's been a significant amount of change that's happened in your life this year, particularly over the time that you and I have been engaged over the last 12 months. Walk us a little bit through what's happened over the last 12 months.
Yeah, it's probably, to understand the last 12 months, I'd take you back sort of 2.5 years where I left the MSP industry altogether to join a software vendor land, basically, because we had a kid and I sort of wanted to feather the nest and have a less stressful job. But realized in software vendor land, you're often steering a container ship towards a direction and they're a lot harder to move and navigate. Whilst the job was amazing and the money was great, I don't like if I jump nimble. So I promised myself at that inflection point of going, do I stay in software vendor land or go back to MSP land, which I swore I would never do. I would only do it if it was the last MSP I ever worked for. And the key word there is for, right? And, there was an opportunity to buy into the last MSP that I was at. If it all went well and you sort of, when you've been around the traps a few times, you know what good looks like. And if I jump bad, but it just made me realize and a few people said this to me, if I jump the company that you're in, you can never influence it the way that you want. It was actually Luke Irwin, one of the other gurus here, that said it to me when I asked him, like, do I leave? Do I stay? Do I found my own thing? He said, you spend your whole entire life sort of building and running and hockey sticking about 4 other MSPs now. If I jump, you stick where you're at, you're just building the same Lego kit time and time again. And you love Lego, right? And you can sort of tweak things around the edges and put a different color on the roof or not have a door or whatever, but it's still a Lego kit that you've bought or inherited that you're building or rebuilding. It's time for you to just build off no plan or your own plan and go do your own thing. And that sort of kicked my butt to go and do it myself, right? That was what finally had me go out on my own saying, if I was born to do this and I don't do it now, I'm going to die with regret. And that's the worst thing you can have, right?
Interesting point. I was having a conversation with an industry consultant today, and they were making a similar reflection. There's so many times that you can go do the same thing and have the same conversation with that next organization, but at some point it's not new and it's not fresh, and it can get tiring, right? To be able to update your career occasionally and refresh yourself, I think is super important to do.
Yeah.
But you took a bit of a risk, right? So you've had a good think about it and you've gone out and started your own business. If you think about when you made that first step, what was that vision that you had for the company? What's the name of the company and what was that initial vision that you had?
The company's called Assets as a Service or Assets SaaS. And if I think, one, to not answer your question, it's nothing of what it was originally meant to be. It's evolved into something slightly different or completely different depending on your perspective of it. But it was founded out of the idea that asset management in service providers was terrible, generally speaking, maybe because the third-party tools we all rely on are focused at helping MSPs solve the problem, not the customer solve the problem of asset management, right? So, and the use story there is if you're a customer of ours and you've got 50 computers and come to us and say, can we have an asset register? The first thing I do as an MSP is give you a spreadsheet and say, there you go, right? And then you get the asset register, but that's not the end of what asset management is. It's, okay, so you've got 50 computers, but only 35 of them are compliant with antivirus, and the MSP is never that transparent and never that honest. So the original vision for this business was if I do whatever it takes to make it successful to build our own custom home build SaaS-based asset management platform, and we're still doing it and it will go live next year, and then release it through the channel, release it direct to customers, but use our services company, typical MSP stuff to fund building it. But the reason why we were sort of less than typical at the start was that, okay, now we've talked about having a SaaS asset management platform we're developing. I've got direct MSP customers. We're building I've spoken to you about this, a commercial retail portal that sort of aims to tackle JB Hi-Fi in a corporate sense, at least, or a commercial sense, to give customers a better e-commerce experience with their service provider. And then there was that little thing that we do in the marketing world that hasn't made sense to anyone, but has really been the bit that opens every door that we've tried to have of asset management, commercial portal, MSP stuff. And the marketing bit is we really just want to help our customers grow, right? One of my co-founders and co-founder in name only, I own the whole of the company at the moment, is a marketer. And I said to her, I was sick to death of working for MSPs where they just see you as the tech people, right? What does a trusted advisor mean if you don't know what your customer's North Star is and what they're doing to survive and thrive? And all of the work we've picked up, we've been able to go in there and have that conversation going, what do you need to transform your business? We'll just take care of the tech and the security stuff. Like, we might be a more premium value or a more premium price point if I judge, and we understand our cost of goods sold better than most, but if we can actively work on what takes your business from here to here, you're a dentist and you need bums on seats 80% of the time and you're at 60%, well, it's marketing, isn't it? And if it's just that your website needs a facelift with a better booking form and we need to tap into your database using our tech skills to find out when your last person came for a filling 6 months ago and do a mail out for you, like, any tech person can figure that stuff out. But that was the entrepreneur in me going, if marketing and tech are analogous to each other, but they're not seen as being bought from the same service provider, I'm going to solve that problem. And we don't solve the problem immediately for everybody. You know, I've got customers, if I just through a refrigeration one at the moment where we're doing some IoT stuff and then helping them relaunch their business with a new website and a new domain, a new identity, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But there's so much tech work to do right now that the marketing comes second, right? If I just sort of waffled onto you if I jump a little bit, but that gives you the depth and breadth of what we were trying to do. Plus, if I just sell through the channel and help other MSPs grow, because why not exhaust myself and try to help everyone all of the time and turn it into a commercial entity? I'll stop in a second, but I dropped that part of it. Like, I work with a few select MSPs at the moment where we're sort of starting to partner more and more. But that's a long-term trust building referral type of engagement where, you know, they might exit their smaller customers to us and we help them with their bigger ones. And if I jut, and that's the business in a confusing nutshell. We're a marketing and tech firm as it stands today. That's the easiest way to describe us. If I
started with the idea of asset management, but, you know, in a real kind of modern SaaS-based application, and then it's kind of gone into tech and marketing. That's a pretty big step from one to the next. We probably won't get time today, but I'd be interested to better understand, are there other asset management tools out there? I was surprised just to hear now that potentially there isn't, but that's a big change to make.
Yeah.
Did you make assumptions that were wrong when you started to go down the path of the asset management pathway? And just by transparency, I've made a billion assumptions. I'm wrong guru, so you're being good company. But did you make assumptions that have become completely wrong from the early days?
Not on the asset management tech or marketing piece. I was pretty bullish on that. If I channel stuff, definitely. Like, I'm well known enough that between you and I, there's not many people we're not mutually connected to, for example. And, you know, it's been that way for a while with the Dan Williams of the world and all of the circles I move in. I probably am not active enough in the community with SMBIT and so on and so forth. But the assumption I made was that because most people in the channel knew me, they would be willing to work with me on me helping them grow their businesses and do that sort of fractional CTO stuff for them. Or because I bring a few vendors into the country that I'm working with from America on solving niche tech challenges that MSPs are bad at the moment. And and started to connect in with MSPs going, I can help you on that one thing. And that was going to be the revenue driver for the asset management platform. So my incorrect assumption was that it would probably be easier to work with other MSPs than it really is sometimes. But on the asset management platform itself, not at all. Like the gap in the market is, if we service SMB exclusively, right? And I go 50 seats and below, not 50 seats and above. But if all managed service providers of any size struggle with compliance and governance and making sure what they say in their contracts is being delivered. And that was the assumption we made, the assumption I've seen every new conversation with a customer I come up against at the moment. They go, we don't like our MSP. We don't know what they do for us, right? If I dig, and we're not perfect, but you dig and you go and look at what the MSP is doing, going, they've missed this, they've missed that, they've missed the other thing. And my assumption is everything's API driven. I can go and build an asset management platform that shows the compliance layer that lets the MSP and the customer sit and look at the same data going, hang on a second, 50 devices, 37 antivirus deployments, fix that, right? If I jump to company owners and CFOs and go, my assumption is that you know your depreciation schedule for your asset, but your MSP is just coming cap in hand saying buy now, and you're not linking it back to the why in the business conversation or risk or compliance. So like all of those assumptions were really sound, right? But I probably expected it to just be easier to, if I just sell for our company through the channel than it was. So I ditched it. That was the bit that was the hardest lesson so far, of if I jump the stuff quickly that's not working and move on, right? Doesn't matter how passionate you are about solving a problem. If people aren't meeting you where you are, if there's no product market fit, then don't do it. Ditch it quickly, right? No.
Yeah, it's an easy trap to fall into. A trap that I've fallen into myself a lot over the last year as well. Spending probably more time making decisions and less time truly testing your ideas and models to kind of get it right. And it's tough. Some say fail fast. Some say no, spend a lot of time, exploring. It's tough to get that balance.
Yeah.
If you were to rewind then 12 months, you knew now, clean slate, no intentions, haven't shared any ideas with the market.
Yeah.
So could you kind of feel pressure sometimes? I know I feel pressure if I say I'm going to do something, or that's an idea, and then you don't do it. You look like you flip-flop flapping.
Yeah.
For rewind 12 weeks, you've just left your last point of employment with the MSP. Know what you know now. What would you do to get the quickest road to revenue or success?
I would have networked harder and faster. I came into the business with a soft landing from revenue opportunity, and it was opportunity that I had no right in bidding for. Like, people were trying to look after me, and it was tens of thousands of dollars a month, right? And I'm like, I win this, and this is the best business, is easy. And then donut of them came off. And I didn't have a strategy for if I jumped out amongst it. Everyone knew what I was doing. Everyone on LinkedIn was liking, following, subscribing, and I was networking in my own peer group really, really well. But if I jumped, no pounding the pavement, none of that. And I probably, if I had my time again, I would have, if I knew what I knew now, I wouldn't have spent so long in my own network without looking outward from it, right? I still would have done it, but I would have learned how to weigh up the likelihood that anything was going to happen if I went. But then on the flip side, if I didn't do it the way I did it, I wouldn't have been able to have that journey of self-discovery anyway of, hang on a second, how do I run a business, right? Like, everyone from your own journey is so well-intentioned and willing to help, but the buck stops with you. If you're not getting out there and pounding the pavement, doesn't matter what good intention and goodwill you've got from your community, how's it going to grow? I had to turn my attention outward. If I went back in time, I would have done that way sooner. It's a good segue to kind of some of the hard stuff, right? This hard stuff that no one tells you or no one talks about. I was having a conversation with another entrepreneur this week, Mark, and very much you become very self-exposed as an entrepreneur. Every
good bit about you and every bad bit about you is on public display.
Yeah.
It will have an impact on your business.
Yeah, for sure.
And, it becomes, a very vulnerable position to be in. So what part of running your business as it stands today surprised you with how emotionally heavy it can be?
If I jump all of it, like every minute of every day, I found myself, here we go, losing my mind this morning on something because of my bullish belief that if everyone was doing their job on a particular thing, I wouldn't have been rescuing the situation I rescued, right? And I struggle with the emotion of that going time and time again. When I say, this is what we need to do, I'm just going to go and make it happen, I correct course. And I can take my superpower in business has always been sort of, again, cutting through the noise or going, everyone saying all of these different things. And in a minute, I make a snap judgment on it, go, no, this is what we're going to do. And I'm usually right on it, or a variation of right, or at least it seems to fall my way because taking control and making a decision is better than not making a decision, right? But maybe I've struggled with ego a little bit, the humility of me wanting to just give as much as I get sort of counterbalances that. That was something I had to learn. I think the emotional part of it is when my head was hitting the pillow at night over the last 6 months going, if I done all the right stuff and I'm really giving 110% of myself to people, the hard part is when you don't feel like you're getting 100% back, the balance never seems to be even, right? Like it's lonely at the top, or it is lonely being a founder in some ways because it's my vision and my business. And if people want to help and people want to buy in, but to what extent? I've had 15 co-founder conversations in 6 months with people saying, come on board, and they're enthusiastic until it comes to the dotted line and they go, cold feet, and that hurts, right? But you look at it going, it's better to have cold feet than bring something on that wasn't the right fit or forced, you know what I mean? Because once you give up equity, you can't get it back easily. I've just sort of had to balance all of it. I think it's a typical founder's journey, the ups and downs. If I just swear 117 times a day and be sad that amount of times, but be happy more, especially now that I've got into a rhythm and I'm finally paying myself a tiny salary, but a salary no less, like you start to see the wheels turn and go, hey, this was all worth it, right?
Yeah.
That's how it feels at the moment, at least. Ask me next week the same question and I'll be in the corner in a fetal position crying, but
That's where I find myself quite often.
if I jump,
We all make mistakes, right?
if
It's been a new entrepreneur in the journey both of us have been on, or even we're working with other MSPs. So if you think about this last 12 months, what mistake do you think has taken you the longest to recover from? Was it financially, mentally, or both, or something different?
Yeah, I probably have to pause, not because I haven't made any, but if I just thinking about the biggest mistake, I think
The longest to recover from, right? Like something cut deeper than others. Like sometimes big mistakes have good outcomes because hard decisions get made for you, potentially.
yeah,
But something that's hard to recover from.
I think I was very aware I was going to make a lot of mistakes, all of them, all at once. I'll make 10 a day, but and you know me personally, outside of conversations like this, I'll be working on 150 things at once. So if half of them fail, who cares, right? You pick yourself up and you move on. So I don't view any one mistake as being sort of, if I just cover from, because I've done what I've done with volume to compensate for not needing to recover.
Yeah.
And if I had my time again, I'd do it the exact same way. And the reality is of a business that I'm trying to be disruptive in with the marketing and tech stuff, 1 minute I'm registering a domain name for a customer, the next minute I'm in Canva doing graphic design, and then I'm fixing some complex mail delivery thing, right? Like if I don't necessarily view the mistakes as anything that's hard to recover from, because I'm always moving forwards. Like don't stand still. I just can't. It's not in my nature. I think the mistake that hurt the most was if I jump friends involved, if I jump them as part of that co-founder equity conversation going, here's how it's structured. And I've got a lot of experience in if I jump promissory notes and shareholders agreements and M&A and all that stuff. And if I just wanted to be a part of the journey and going, come on board, this is how it works, getting them up to speed and watching them, if I jump cold feet, if I having to make a conscious decision going, I might feel a little bit let down or screwed over or I've wasted my time or whatever, and then does it impact the friendship? If I jump in the ones that situation happened with, if I very conscious choice I had to make was go step away from the friendship for a month purposefully just to go. Any other time in my life, I would have just walked away from that person, but it was me that caused it by inviting them into that world. If I jump back to it in a month, see where it goes, and I did, and the door was open and it was a massive hug and a how's your business going and blah, 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 right? So like the recovery time for that sort of situation was a month, and it was entirely self-inflicted. If I jump time again, would I have invited the person in? Probably. I just would have been more objective over it. And they wanted in, they wanted to explore what it could be, and so did I. So was it a good idea? Absolutely not. And did it go the way we wanted? No. If I jump, you take those bumps personally, right? The closer that it gets to you personally and family and friends, the harder it is to recover from when it goes wrong. If I jump,
yeah, no,
we're expecting.
I agree. I think, one of I remember hearing a comment once, it was an interview I was watching online, and this gentleman was talking about their business partner.
Really?
And the language they used was something like, my business partner is not my friend.
Yeah.
We don't holiday together.
If I jump,
we don't call each other to see how we're doing.
If I jump,
not my friend, they're my business partner.
Yeah.
And that, obviously their business partnership didn't form out of friendship. They met each other because it commercially made sense. But I always reflected on that statement and thought about it. And it's kind of similar to the situation I found myself into. It actually helps a little bit.
If I
deeply admire my business partner. I think he's an amazing individual, and learn every time I speak to him. But, respectfully, not a friend. And that's okay. It's actually nice to have that point of separation. So it'd be difficult to do that process that you went through with an existing friend and then talking about business partnership. When things weren't working, so when things weren't working, how or when did you know whether to preserve it or let it go?
If I jump, I think I've spoken to you about 7 times in 6 months going, I'm done, I quit. So I'd be a hypocrite to say to you on a podcast that everything's fine and that never happened, but it did, right? I nearly threw in the towel many times. I never changed course on what I fundamentally believed I wanted to do with the company. That was my number one rule, of stick to it. If it's not going to work, you can go and get a job in the industry again anywhere, right? But when I would get those moments of something's not working, let it go. If I just always around, like knowing how to let go of an opportunity, right? I've had sales opportunities that were $250,000 that were the hottest thing in town and go, if I just follow the sales pipeline playbook and use frameworks like MedPick or whatever, or Challenger sales models to nurture this through, because that's what shareholders would expect me to do. But I'm not going to keep that in my pipeline for 6 months like a typical sales guy would and tell my boss that I was forecasting for it because I was looking at an advisory board that wanted to see the real value of our pipeline, right? And so I had to learn to go, this is really not going to happen, and sum it up quickly and learn how to go back to customers and go, if I jump, see this isn't going to work, or it's lukewarm, or you're not ready, or whatever, you come back to me when you want, right? I'm not going to keep opportunities in my pipe forever because it's not worth it. Like, because I take it too personally when I lose, you know what I mean? If I jump, what I have to do is learn to just go, nah, just hard cut, walk away, be polite, shake hands. And if it comes back around, great. And the funny thing is a lot of them do come back around. When you're willing to let go of something, even if you wanted it really badly, you find that it comes back in some form that actually becomes what it was supposed to, not what you tried to force it to be. That's a lesson. Like, if I just tried to force things to happen, the less they actually happened. I went away on a 1-week holiday and came back to more opportunity in my pipe than I ever had any time in my business. If I just, because people all of a sudden started wanting me, and if I just running at 2 million miles an hour trying to make people want us, and I'm finding it's not working, I need to take more breaks. That's when the magic happens, right? Like, and it seemed counterintuitive at the time, and that doesn't, it's a segue or a, if I just from your question, I suppose, but yeah, I think it was learn how to let go of shit early, like scrap the thing that's not serving you, or at least put it in a bucket and go, I can only do so much and I've got 50 other things I need to do, so do them, right? Really good with time management is my best piece of advice. Yeah,
that's awesome. You and I have had that conversation several times, right? That more isn't always better in stuff that we're doing, and it's difficult. We face similar things with building Channel Guru. We could just go build a whole bunch of stuff and put it onto a platform, but that doesn't really serve the purpose of meaningful helping people.
Yeah.
Serve the purpose of meaningfully helping yourself in your scenario, right? Finding and deciding which areas you are going to go deep on is just as difficult. Really interesting, mate. And one of the things I enjoy every time we have a conversation is that you are really open and honest about some of the harder stuff, which is testament to your character.
Thank you.
We're thinking about the future, and I guess from what you've learned, whether it's advice to yourself or advice to others, what's one boring thing, an unsexy habit that Mark does that often drives positive or oversized impact?
Consistency every single time. Like consistent performers, I think, beat flamboyant performers every time, right? Like I've been in and around the sales world forever. I grew up as a tech, but I ended up in pre-sales roles. You're a business owner, so you have to sell things. Like, whereas that's the way it is. And if I do boring things a day, I might not be able to quantify every single one of them, but you do them. Like I got into a flow before this call where I knocked off 17 emails that I had delayed. If I just focus time blocked out in my calendar to do them, and I don't let myself get out of the chair until they're done, right? I think it was, as an employee, I always said, if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. No matter what, I held myself accountable. It's for real easy as a business owner not to do that. You go, well, I own the business, so if I said I was going to do something and I break my rule, who gives a crap? I've only got myself to answer to. If I just... boring doing the thing you said you were going to do when you're an owner, because you would much rather do the fun, fancy thing like sitting there and vibe coding an app, or whatever. But I think the consistent boring thing is like, if I flagged those 10 emails and I told people I'd get back to them today, I'm just going to do it. Like,
yeah,
if I have to sit there reconciling costs in Xero of expenses in and out, and I'm not an accountant, I hate numbers. I need someone else to take care of that for me, but I'm not there yet. I just have to do it. Like, it sucks, but here it is. But you know what I won't do, and this is what I've seen other MSP owners fail in too many times, is keep doing that boring thing. Like, delegate it, right? You didn't found a business as a tech guy and as an MSP to sit there in QuickBooks or Xero every day, so I know where I'm going to delegate. If I just boring task number 2 I do is I just document. I document it as if I've got a team of 500 people that I can hand off to. So when I do have a team of 500 people, I can sit back and go, my work here is done, and just be a board member or a shareholder or found a plastic recycling company or do anything else other than tech, right? Like, it's the boring stuff adds up to the biggest impact things,
I like that. I think the stretch to be in a recycling plastic company might be a bit too far, mate. So I think you get more narrow field. But so if consistency then is in part the magic sauce, the unsexy thing that drives results, what's some of the advice that you've seen online that sounds good, looks good, but in real world breaks down and doesn't really add much value?
I unfortunately think in our industry, in the MSP game, it's if I jump marketing firms out there, except for the ones in Channel Guru, because I genuinely know they're amazing and I've worked with them. A lot of the typical marketing firms that even if they know the channel, they're still practicing their craft aligned to the textbook that they studied at university, or the latest marketing buzzwords in their industry that they then filter down to ours. And even if they know our industry, it's still very academic. And if I know MSP owners, you know them, JD knows them, we all do, that, you know, they started their tech business 30 years ago, they're stuck. If I just peaked, they win a couple of big customers, they lose a couple. They've got 10, 20 staff because it was easy enough to get there. It's hard to break to 50 and maybe they don't even want to. But they all complain about, if I just the wrong word, I don't want to be negative. If I just struggle with new business, we struggle with new customers, and we've developed this ideal client profile either because we know we need to or marketing teams told us to do it. But you don't understand as a business owner that what made you successful, you've often given up on because you've gotten big enough where you don't have to do that anymore. Like, I will always grind. Our ideal client profile is 2 to 50 seats, and I'll always take the 2-seaters because we don't discount, and a 2-seat business is worth $600 a month for me, right? And if I have 1,000 of them, then I'll just hire a team of people to look after that micro segment of our customer base and never leave them behind because they're the ones that made us successful. And I think all of the marketing firms out there that say, fill your funnel, do this pipe thing, blah, 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 blah. Like, MSPs are not built and run by salespeople or business people. Most of the time, they're built by tech folks that if I really good at the customer service stuff that kept them sticky and that's how they got their first customers, when they look to find more, they go to market for marketing firms or whatnot. But it's not if I'm just struggling for pipe. And it's because I'm joining networking groups like BNI or Fresh Networking down here in Victoria, or asking for referrals every day from our customers and their staff, and giving our customers' staff accelerators and bonuses if they have a cafe down the road that we can take on, or so on and so forth. Like, your next customer is way closer than you think. And I think prescriptive marketing, and when you watch this recording back, it might have seemed like a ramble, but prescriptive marketing, back to my original point, or academic marketing as it may be, I don't think if I transforming MSPs enough. In fact, I see some of the biggest successful MSPs, if I jump on social media, I'm like, this crap's boring. Like, is this actually winning you customers? Because you're all saying the same thing. None of you are different. You were all tech founders founding a company. Where's your pounding the pavement? Where's your going into your customer base saying, hey, if you refer us this customer in your network or your B2B network, we'll give you 1 month off your bill. Like, it's not happening, and it should. It's the way I'm growing. It's the way I was bullish about it, going, we are a referral-only business. We will not spend money on Google AdWords to get to the front page of Google. I don't even care what my website looks like, because when was the last time an MSP genuinely centered their business on people that being attracted to their website to win customers? It's a referral-based industry. It's a reputation-based industry. Like, if I joined and I've got a bit of a marketing background and a co-founder that's a marketer, like, throw the rule book out. Do the things that are guaranteed to work. Get your fundamentals correct. Show up and be consistent. But if I jump what made you successful, pound that friggin' pavement as hard as you can, and you can't go backwards. You might not get exactly what you want, but you'll get more than the nothing that most of the time you are getting in a stagnant industry. And there I am on my high horse. I knew it would happen.
So you heard it here first. Marketing doesn't work. No. What I'm working.
Sort of what
There is a couple of things here. I really enjoyed this conversation, and there's much of what you're sharing that I agree with. I do think foundations are first. My learning with Channel Guru is foundations are important. What is my brand?
Yeah.
And ensuring that my team and everything I do, it aligns deeply to that brand, right? Point number one, right? And that it flows on through to your website build and marketing, messaging, or whatever. As then you're truly understanding my ideal customer profile, right? understanding who it is I'm focused on and who I want to have conversations to.
Yeah.
And then I think that's where my mindset also goes down the pathway of yours, where particularly as we come into a more AI infused and automated world, people are going to continue to seek more human to human connection. I can go out and get leads easily, but, to be able to nurture them appropriately or be able to convert them is a different conversation. I had a wonderful conversation just as good as this. Maybe, you won't compare the two, but with Derek Morgan last week, and we spoke, he focused on referral marketing. One of the things he dived into was, if you knew if you're an MSP, you've got a customer. If you knew their ideal customer, as you working through your referrals and your network, and you identify them new customers, and you can bring them some referrals throughout the year, what are the chances of you being disrupted by another MSP? What other MSP is bringing their customers, new referral, right? And how do we start to build these notions of referral partner networks where it's no longer about me selling something, but it's about using our trust and our friendships and our networks to be able to draw these connections and support people where they need it, and the opportunities will come.
Yeah.
And I fundamentally agree with you. I think filling the top of my funnel with marketing-based, qualified leads, I think that will mature over time to more referral-based marketing.
And I think the salespeople have to be told how to do it, because and I was reading an article the other day about this on that, like, founder-led marketing and MSPs is making a comeback because of what you and I have just spoken about. Of, if I jump you successful, you probably kind of stopped go out there and do it, right? But I think a lot of owners, and I respect this, I haven't been in business as long, but we're tired, and we want that young sales guy that we hired to go and do that thing, or salesperson, they go and do the pounding the pavement, but they're not getting shown or told or whatnot, right? And the big top end of town account executives are with the solution integrators that don't come down to the 30-seat MSP. So where do you find the good one? You have to teach, train, mentor, lift, elevate, all that stuff. If the last example I've got, and I would probably press for time, is our first customer was a blue-collar recruitment firm that puts forklift drivers into warehouses. And I said to him one day casually over lunch, I'm like, I'll go have a look at this company down the road. If I they've just opened a 20,000-foot warehouse and I know the owner, I'd just pick up the phone to him. He's a nice guy. I won't make the intro because I don't know him well enough. He went in there and now he's got 20 forklift drivers daily helping this guy out in his warehouse. And that conversation came back around to me now, and it will be $10,000, $20,000 a month worth of revenue. If I jarred, it was a flippant conversation going, hey, dear customer, this is your business, go do this. Or I was there the other day, and again, they focus on blue-collar workers. I heard them talking about a trucking company that just got liquidated and a bunch of truckies are out of jobs. I said, I'll go talk to those guys down the road. I used to work with them, made an introduction, and now he's helping out-of-work truck drivers go and fill the 50 roles for that trucking company that I was connected to in a previous life, right? And it will swing back around for me getting work from them because they've gone and seen, hey, Mark was the glue here that connected it all together. But I think you have to be entrepreneurial to do that, don't you? You have to spot the opportunity and take it. Worst time to cough. And not everyone thinks like that. That's fine. But you've also just got to know where you want to be happy in your business and go, if 10 to 20 seats or staff is how big I want my business to be, learn to be happy with it. Because I've seen too many jaded owners that sort of, let's face it, sometimes go around making their staff members' lives hell, wanting more, but not really actually wanting to transform the customer base or transform their business and take a risk. And here we are, right? If I jump to trash those paradigms, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, the amount of partners that we speak to who may fall in the revenue range of $5.5 million and want to get to 10 and don't know how, and have been out there for a very long time. And there's also single seat organizations who want to get that initial set of what's the right person to employ, how do I get on the tool. and start to build my business phase as well. Those steps of development or growth are very consistent in the channel, and there is clear things that helps partners make those steps.
Yeah.
You've got to be willing to be able to engage your own organizations or put the investment into the right tools and services or advice to be able to make that journey. Mate, we've covered a lot today. Early career, the turning point, your visions for what Asset.io was going to be and where you kind of landed today. You've shared really great insights around some of the hard stuff that we all kind of struggle with. If someone is at that point, they're at that thinking point and they're thinking, hey, is it now my time to stop being an employee, be brave and go out and be that entrepreneur? What would be your advice on that first step for them to take?
If I jump up a friendship with ChatGPT, I guess. I don't know. If I jump that Spotify Wrapped thing, that it's like, these songs are what you've listened to this year. I went on to ChatGPT and asked that question the other day. I'm like, give me my year Wrapped experience, ChatGPT, like pretend you're Spotify, but for what I've spoken about this year. And if I jump me back at my face, the founder's journey I went on, the highs and lows, and it was, if I jump everything about me, right? It knows me more than my partner probably does in some ways. If I was to look at that, if I just reflected back at myself and then tell that to someone wanting to start something up, definitely have a bit of financial runway, give yourself a buffer. If I judge, like, do the Bezos thing of be stubborn on the vision, but not the details, because the details are ephemeral. Circumstances change. Know how to get rid of a crap idea quickly. Listen to the people telling you that something can't be done because you've started a business either to plug a gap in the market and do something new. So people telling you it can't be done is par for the course. Don't take it to heart. If I doing something that's always been done, but it's your passion and you want to do it, just go be the best at it. And network, right? Like, don't stop connecting with people. And if I pulled the thread that seems not obvious to everyone, right? Like, if I gave a web design thing away for free, telling the customer if they refer us to a customer of theirs that we wanted to talk to for doing the website for free, we'll keep it free forever. And now we've got a $5,000 a month opportunity in front of us. Like, you just know how to, if I jump opportunity and take it, it isn't innate. But if I'm identifying as an entrepreneur, then you're probably ahead of most. You want to start your own business, give yourself runway, do all the stuff I said, and just go and grab it. Just do it. It's the most fun and exhilarating thing you've ever done in your life or will ever do from a work perspective. Don't be, pardon the French, don't be a dickhead. Like, if it doesn't work and you need to fold it, go back into the industry and people will be willing to help get you another job, right? If I jumble all that stuff, don't have too much of a chip on your shoulder like this guy does sometimes. But yeah, I think lots of advice just around, just go for it. Don't let anyone tell you can't do something, because that's how every great business was founded, right? That's awesome, mate. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for a really in-depth and open and honest conversation. We'll close where we ended. You've been such a great supporter of what we're trying to do, and obviously we are a commercial organisation, no shying away from that, but we want to remain truly dedicated to trying to drive meaningful help in the channel that's accessible to everyone. And there's no one channel that's supported us from in that journey more than you, and just time and effort in creating content. So we deeply thank you for your support, and no doubt we look forward to some tremendous success as we go into 2026. Yeah, I appreciate it. It's funny because I just wish I was doing more, right? Like, the go out there and help mentality first is if I and anyone do, because it's what the channel needs, right? Like, or in the last month or two, haven't produced much content because you look at what JD is doing, going, the guy's a friggin' genius, and you think about a problem in our industry, he's probably already solved it, the content's there. But I guess if anyone just wants help and they're watching this back, just pick up the phone, like call us. It's too good a community, I think, in the channel now to ignore. And that's why I joined it, because it's not about me. Like, if I jump an awards ceremony when I retire, I don't want anyone, my name being put up in lights today or any of that crap. I do it because it's tough, right? Like, pound the pavement and all of that stuff. Great advice. Pat myself on the back for being a good bloke on this call, but I know how hard it is. And if I sometimes use as an owner, you just want a shoulder to cry on, come to Channel Guru, right? Like, you want some great content to live to fight another day, or train the young tech with a chip on his shoulder named Mark Boyd, come to Channel Guru. The content's there, you know. It's good fun. I appreciate it. You've grown me in ways that you probably won't realise until I give my retirement speech next year, but or whenever it is, hopefully. But yeah, it's good. It's a pleasure to be a part of it, and always happy to hop on these calls.
Awesome, Mark. Well, have a wonderful Christmas, mate. Make sure you get some time back for your family, and focus. I think is that the mantra I've heard from you.
Yeah.
Consistency and focus in the new year. Thanks again.
Love it. All right. Thanks, Brad. Cheers.